Hello everyone, and welcome to a very snowy and horrible last day of January in Crowthorne in Berkshire. The TRL, the Transport Research Laboratory, is closed now, but it opened in 1933. This is the big banked curve that they used to do 155 mile an hour round. Not bad in those days. But yeah, it's just a woodland walk now and a housing estate. But anyway, MTB Derbyshire has nominated me to do a video on what I think is the best upgrade for a bike. So here we go. So I've given it a lot of thought, and the first thing that comes to mind is the organic thing, actually riding the bike. That makes the biggest difference to people riding them. Me riding my bike, lose a bit of weight and it honestly makes a difference. But I don't want to preach to people about losing weight, it's a bit boring, isn't it? So I'm going to pick something that's actually on the bike, giving it a fair bit of thought. And the thing that I keep coming back to, well, let's start at the beginning. Let's go back to 1991 Hardcore Crew. Now this is my bike. This is my bike. I'm going to show you a picture now. My bike that I had when I was about 12 years old in 1991. My first ever mountain bike. It was a Rally Mustang. Still bad boy. No front fork. Bad brakes, everything was bad on it, but I guess that was the best you could get at the time. I remember it being about £200 it cost my parents, and I absolutely loved this bike. Absolutely loved it. So the thing I'm picking is front suspension forks, okay? So on this bike, no front suspension fork. So this bike had a steel fork, no suspension whatsoever. And yeah, okay, I did take it a few places. I think I took it to New Forest once with my dad and got a puncture after about an hour and a half, had to go home. And then another place I still ride actually now, and it's on the channel quite a lot, but I can't tell you where it is. So yeah, I've been in the game for a long time. And then after that, obviously, I had a few budget hardtails because I was young. Shh! Noisy. I had a few budget hardtails over the years. Nothing to really write home about until we get to 2014, when I bought a brand new Orange Crush. Now, at the time, they build this bike as the secret weapon of the bike is the fork. Here's a picture. I'm going to put a picture up as we go, see. And it had 150mm, I think it was, RockShox Recon, with a Cashmere, the nice Cashmere stuff on there that doesn't actually do anything. But I'll tell you what, that bike was epic. It kept up with full suspensions and stuff, and it could do so much, that bike, honestly. And without that fork, I really think it wouldn't have been the bike it was. I mean, I learned a lot from that hardtail. I do regret selling it, to be fair. So let's move on. Let's move on to my Orange 5 that I had after that. Actually, no, I had a fat bike. Let's talk about the fat bike. I had a charge cooker fat bike. It had a steel frame with a steel fork. That thing was horrendous. I took it around Swinley and it was so bumpy. It was just horrendous. I had to get rid of it. I just had to get rid of it in the end. I just couldn't ride the thing, and I didn't want to fork out a load of money to get a fork. So, and the massive tyres, you'd think the massive tyres was going to be enough suspension to sort of carry you along. That's kind of how it was sold, sort of. And no, horrendous. Then after that I had an Orange 5, and honestly that bike was absolutely amazing apart from the fork. And it was a RockShox Yari, 150mm travel, but it had flaws. It had flaws. Like, I set it up for jumping and it was amazing for jumping, but then you couldn't take it on the trail because it was just like juddering everywhere. It was horrendous. So it you know, and everything on that bike, that Orange 5, I had hope everything. I'll put a picture up. I had hope everything. Everything was amazing on there. Even the rear shock, it was fine. Everything. The brakes were amazing. The tyres were amazing. Tubeless. Everything. Apart from the fork. Fast forward to this beautiful bike. Now my upgrade, obviously, as I've mentioned the whole time, is the fork. And the whole reason for getting this bike, well, one of the reasons, is so I got this fork. The Fox 36 fork, to me, is the absolute nuts. I first rode it on someone else's bike and I was like, wow, that's awesome. Next bike has to have a Fox 36. I think that was a Fox 36. Elite or something. Then I rode EMB's bike, his Rocky Mountain, which had the same fork as this, and it just sealed the deal for me. Before I had this bike, I was like, oh my god, it's just amazing. That fork is amazing. So I had to get this bike with this fork. It had to have Fox, and to me, everything else on the bike, like, you might think I might pick the motor might be the best thing, but when you've got a motor, you're still flawed, because it makes the bike heavy. Whereas the fork, I couldn't live life without the fork. I can deal with dodgy brakes, dodgy tyres, not being tubeless, a few pins missing on the pedals. I can deal with that, but a juzzery, horrible fork that just won't do what I want it to do, and I'm going through turns and, you know, running wide and stuff, it has to be the fork, honestly. And one more instance where I know, Michael won't mind me saying this, Michael's, who I normally ride with, his Voodoo Bop E. I love his bike, it's beautiful, love the colour, love everything about that bike. It's a stunning bike, but it just has one problem with it. He's even sorted the brakes out, which were a little bit weak, but it's in the review. It's the fork. I can't remember what fork it is, but it's a RockShox. It's even e-bikes Pacific, and it just lets the bike down, man. It just lets it down. And when we've tried to sort it out, I think he's tried to sort it out, and you just can't, because it's impossible to set it up. You can set it up as best you can possibly set it up, but it's still just not good enough. Honestly, it needs a Fox 34. I know it's a lot of money, but it would transform that bike. It really would. So thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was a little bit interesting. And I'm going to nominate Connor Beach, MTB, and Ride with Sean, and I'll put all the links to everybody who's been doing these videos. EMB Electric Mountain Biker has been doing it, MTB Derbyshire, I think the Gibb's been on it. So everybody check their videos out. I'll leave the links in the description. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. Brilliant. And again. Yo, half pipe. Yes, mate. Love it.